Alright guys, so today I have a video for you about listing off my favorite exotic weapons to use in PvE. And a little disclaimer, these are by no means the best weapons in the game, nor the most effective. We all know that power weapons are going to be in use 99.9% of the time in PvE, even for me. This is a list of exotics that I find fun to use, and also the slightest bit effective without ruining your time in PvE. But I hope after watching this video will get you to use some of these guns, because using the same Midnight Coup, Icarus shotgun, and Whisper can get stale really quickly. And again, this is my opinion, and I'm just trying to shed some light on these things to shake up PvE a little bit, and to bring new weapons to the table so the game doesn't get too boring too quickly. Now this isn't necessarily in order from worst to best, but starting at number 5, we have the Wishender exotic bow, and it comes from completing the questline that is from the Awoken Talisman and the Shattered Throne dungeon. And what I like about this bow in PvE is that its over penetration comes in handy with clearing out adds, and True Sight isn't as useless as you would think, especially with Blackout having no radar. The wall hacks just give it some ease of use, and the Wishender has some pretty good damage against mid-tier enemies or yellow bars. One precision hit will do almost over half of its health bar, and you could probably kill it within 2 shots. This thing does especially good against taken enemies, and in a Dreaming City or about 50% of strikes have taken in them, so that just gives it an extra pro to it. Also, sometimes when you hit something with an arrow, it has that Warframe effect to it that it either drags an enemy along with the arrow, or gives an over-exaggerated ragdoll effect to it, so it has a 10 in style points. But overall, this is a decent weapon to use, and you compare it with a shotgun since it is a kinetic bow. And with it being a bow, you would probably need something that has some good single target damage. So I think that it would be best to use a shotgun and a heavy with boss spec on it to get the most out of the boss damage, and then use the bow for ad clear. The next weapon we have is the Cerberus +1 exotic auto rifle shotgun hybrid thing. And I made a video about a month ago on this thing, and I think some people failed to realize that it was a parody video. Besides that, I think this gun is super fun to use, and it feels like you're using an AA-12 from Call of Duty that has even more range than the one from MW2 did. So this thing fires from 4 barrels in all directions, but if you aim down sights, the spread cone of the bullets gets tighter so you can concentrate the damage if you need to. Obviously, the closer to the enemy you get, the more accurate this thing will be, but it has some weird inverted fall off effect to it, meaning that the further back you are, the more damage it does for some reason. Now for clearing ads, this thing does that pretty well since it's firing a cone of bullets. It's satisfying just firing this thing like the guy from the Expendables did with that AA-12 down a hallway. You'll pretty much just mow low tier enemies down. Now for single target damage, this thing does better than most guns since it has damage coming out of 4 barrels, but it is a primary, so don't be expecting the highest numbers like you would get from an actual shotgun. But seeing all those numbers pop up from the bullets landing is also one of the most satisfying things to see, and overall this is a good gun that I wish had more utility use to it, like Rampage or something else to help kill low tier enemies faster. But next up we have a gun that is returning from Destiny 1, but it's even better now. Not that it was good in Destiny 1 because, to be completely honest, it wasn't that sick. But here we have the Hardlight exotic auto rifle, and this thing shoots over penetrating and ricocheting volleys of light, and it does double the damage to enemies if you hit something that ricochets, which is why you'll probably see me shooting that at the floor with it. Also, I can't aim, that's why too. So another cool thing about this gun that they changed in Destiny 2 compared to Destiny 1 is that it has the ability to change the element it shoots by just holding down the reload button. The mag doesn't have to be empty, it can be completely full, and you can just reload a magazine with solar, void, or arc rounds in it. This helps the gun tremendously with its utility, and it probably has the most utility use in the game out of any gun. The only problem is that it's an auto rifle, and those are very underwhelming in both PvE and PvP at the moment. But if you're doing something like going for a Nightfall high score, or in an activity with a bunch of shielded enemies, this thing is perfect for those. It won't be doing the most damage, but it's even more of a multi-tool than the Mida multi-tool is. And overall, this is a great weapon, and it has some solid uses to it that I think should be brought out by more players, especially in PvE. So if you're struggling with a match game Nightfall, I recommend pulling this thing out and giving it a try. Next gun, or guns I should say, we have on the list is the Sturm exotic hand cannon and the Drang legendary sidearm. These guns are supposed to be used together, Sturm being a kinetic and Drang being an energy weapon. But the basis of these guns are pretty much using the Drang as a primary. Getting kills with this will reload the Sturm, and each individual kill will reload a single overcharged round in it that can go up to 20 rounds in a hand cannon. And once you get some kills with the Drang, you switch to the Sturm and use that to refill Drang's magazine, using the overcharged shots to do more damage to single targets. I really love these guns because they're probably my favorite weapons in the game at the moment. They're very synergistic with each other since Drang is the Sturm's companion weapon. You could just keep feeding ammo into each of these guns when you get a kill with either, and you'll be doing a decent bit of damage, especially with the overcharged Sturm shots, doing something about 1.7 or 0.8 times the damage. And the cool thing about the Drang is that it could get up to 20 rounds in it too. They won't be overcharged, but it does have Rampage on it. You could kill a lot of low tier and even mid tier adds with either of these weapons. And with these weapons being my favorite in the game, my review is pretty biased. If you haven't used these, I highly recommend doing so. The catalyst makes this thing almost a scout rifle, and the handling that the base of it lacks is completely made up for with it, and it makes the gun super crisp and satisfying to use all around. So the last weapon we have here on the list is a weapon that came from Warmine that a lot of you probably use too since it's so good. We have the Huckleberry exotic submachine gun, and this thing has a perk that as you hold down the trigger, the rate of fire increases, but also every kill reloads the magazine. And to put the icing on the cake, this thing also has Rampage on it, so I can just clear all the adds in just a single long chain of bullets, and it's also amazing at doing so. I like this over the Risk Runner because it isn't so situational. You don't have to take in arc damage or inflict arc damage on yourself to get the perk running. You just have to keep chaining kills and the gun will pretty much play the game for you, having almost unlimited ammo and damage that keeps going up the more kills you keep feeding it. It's super fun and easy to use. If you haven't got it, it comes as a random drop, so hopefully RNG is on your side, because you're really missing out on one of the best low tier and even mid tier ad clears in the game at the moment. And the best thing is, since it's a primary, you can use an Ikelo shotgun with it as a secondary for boss damage. So what I'm saying here is that it makes for a great weapon to include in any PvE loadout, since you have a great weapon for clearing ads, and a potential to have a great energy weapon and heavy weapon to pair with it to do damage to a boss. But again, this is all my opinion. If you have any other exotics you like to use in PvE, leave them down in the comments. This is subject to change if Bungie decides to ever drop any other Forsaken exotics for me. But if you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like or maybe even a sub to the channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.